So hi, I'm Stuart Alden.
And I'm Georgina Wilson Ayala. And together we present Advance to Contract, the podcast series where we explore how SMEs can break into, engage with and secure contracts in the UK defence sector.
So join us as we share insights, strategies and real-world experiences to help you navigate this very complex but at the same time rewarding market. Welcome back to Advance to Contract, the podcast that helps innovative engineering and technology businesses navigate the defence sector and, most importantly, win work. I'm Stu, and with me is Georgina again. Welcome, Georgina.
Hi, Stu. Good to be here. So hi, everyone. Today we're looking at a common issue in defence and technology, looking at how we cross the Valley of Death.
Excellent. Sounds painful.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Not on a motorbike.
No evil Knievels here.
No, at all. So in other words, how do we get best prepared to commercialise our product offering for commercial success?
Yep.
Excellent. So with no further ado, really excited for this one. Stu, so what is the commercialisation gap in defence innovation?
Yeah, good question. How long have we got? Well, 40 minutes, I think. So I think everyone has really good ideas, really good technology. The UK is well known for being a strong innovator. But sometimes we kind of fall down on the commercialisation aspect. So what do I mean by that? Well, it's taking that good idea and it's making it into a sort of revenue building business. So it's commercialising it from a sort of concept and taking it through into a product or service that the end customer can use. So from a defence point of view, that's really looking at demonstrating a proof of concept from that idea. So taking it from a clean sheet of paper, maybe building a sort of concept prototype of a product. And then the key thing is going from that concept into low rate production. And, there's a massive gap there because it's all about how you prove that your product is what the end customer requires, whether it's safe and whether it meets all of the requirements that the end customer is looking for, really. And that stall that happens, that valley of death that you talked about, where people fall down into, often happens between the concept and that prototype or low rate in initial production. And we can talk through the factors that we need to go through from there. So that's kind of what I mean by that.
Would it be worth, because I'd definitely benefit from understanding from your experience what the reasons are for that valley of death?
Yeah, sure.
Or stall.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the key things is cost. People don't quite understand or perhaps haven't thought about the cost of taking it from that concept and prototype into production, into a product that other organisations are going to use. And that's the same for any sector, but in defence, there's another added layer, really, because of the safety, the security aspects, the ruggedisation. There's a whole host of aspects where that cost starts to build. There's also certification. So defence has a lot of standards and regulations that you need to go through to make sure that you comply with those. There's the test and evaluation process that you need to go through can be quite expensive. I think another aspect, and perhaps something that's outside of an organisation's sort of sphere of influence, is the fact that, and we all know, and we've heard a lot of it in the news recently, about the long procurement cycles.
Yep.
So you've got to be patient and you've got to make sure that your product or service offering is aligning with a funded program in defence. Because if there isn't a funded program, you either have to wait until there is, or maybe switch it to another sector that you can prove that concept and then bring it back into defence when there is a demand. The rise of drones, for example, in defence has been absolutely incredible over the last couple of years. That's something that was wasn't even heard of
course,
2 years ago,
No.
and it's proven in other environments. Of course, the Ukraine war has accelerated it in the way that they've utilised commercially available products and brought it into the defence environment. But in order for us to, and we are learning lessons from the Ukraine war, we've then got to bring it back into our procurement system and make sure it meets the demands of our safe certification, safety cases, etc. That needs to be met in order to give it out to our troops. So there's all of those aspects that we need to look at.
You've triggered a thought, which is I just thought when you were talking is how much more effective it would be if the procurement was similar to the private sector procurement in that sense, which is a downfall in that sense. But because you think of, I think your like automotive, how fast they go through that, pardon the pun, go through all of that, and from concept to, So I don't know, have you seen where defence has learned from that, or is that also quite slow?
Absolutely, and I think we'll get onto it in a bit, but I'm happy to jump around. So the defence reform aspect that's been going through the MOD at the moment, that came out of the Strategic Defence Review, was all about how do we learn from other sectors, adjacent sectors. And the UK Defence Innovation Centre that's been set up is very much charged with accelerating equipment into the use of the troops that need it. So we'll touch on that a little bit, but I think defence is certainly learning lessons, but there is a long way to go in that, in order to help SMEs to get through that. That commercialisation gap, I think.
The question I had, Stu, is I guess what are your thoughts on the role or the importance of the role of that pre-market engagement in that? I don't know if that's something you plan to cover a bit later, or
I think that's hugely positive, and it's been something that I think has really benefited organisations. And for those that don't know, the pre-market engagement is outside of or prior to the commercial contracting aspect that forces, and we're talking the public procurement, so the MOD procurement area here, that forces the commercial lockdown, but more restrained activity because you're actually under competition with other organisations. So the pre-market engagement gives the ability for both the MOD and primes and SMEs to talk openly about their requirements, their needs, the outcomes. They started to move away from detailed requirements documents to problem statements now, such that they're going out to the market and saying, this is a challenge we're seeing. We're learning lessons from other areas such as Ukraine. How can we bring this back into the UK? And on the flip side, industry is saying, well, this is the art of the possible. This is what's out there at the moment, maybe in a dual sector or adjacent sector role that can be brought in. It's high technology readiness level, high TRL. So it reduces the amount of development activity that needs to be done. And we can bring it in, and they can have those open and honest conversations outside of the commercial restraints, and therefore they can enter into that commercial competition with more detailed knowledge of the market and what's available. So
that's very good. Very important role then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. And so I suppose looking at the SME in its entirety, and because I've always seen great for innovation, but I guess how or what is the misalignment with the MOD priorities, would you say?
So I think it's I don't know whether it's misalignment. It's just understanding the need, and there is a big gap at the moment between the articulation of that need and communicating it out to the widest sector and sectors possible that can answer that problem statement. So the key themes are that there are numerous frameworks, there are numerous portals that are out there. SMEs who think they've got a good offering into defence need to be monitoring quite a wide range of sort of frameworks and portals. So there does need to be simplification there, and I think we're going to talk about how that perhaps could happen through some of the activities that are going through the defence reform at the moment. But I think the key themes of making sure an SME can align their innovations is a bit like we talked about in a previous episode, is understanding customer pain points, do your research, network. Don't think that you can sell into defence without building relationships. It's a hugely relationship-driven business, so make sure that you are talking to organisations that you think best align with your product or service, and that's what we spend most of our time doing with our clients, is helping them to understand where they best fit, so that they're not wasting a lot of time and resource by talking to a wide range of organisations, but they're very much focused on customers that potentially require their product or their service. So,
do you get the opportunities to help your clients develop or package the innovations? So because I'm thinking there's like quite a lot of like artifacts, isn't there, that is needed to support the innovation. And if it's not developed in parallel, then like you say, you get that. So do you get the opportunity to help your clients shape?
Yeah, and that's critical. Again, we've talked previously about it's not just the technology. Often the technology is the easy bit. It's how that is articulated and how that's put across to potential buyers. So what are we talking about there? Simple things like are you speaking the right language? Are you searchable? Is your website sort of searchable for the product that you're offering and relates to the defence sector? Because a lot of procurement organisations will sort of search for companies just literally via website search. So if you're not visible, they're not going to come to you. Have you got backup material that you can send to organisations that are written in plain English, that lay it out very clearly about what your offering is, how you add value, and what sort of maturity that product is, and what case studies you've got, because is it been proven in other sectors? Because that's what MOD and primes are looking for now. They're not looking for long drawn out development programs. They're looking for tech that they can bring into service very quickly. So what have you done to do that? So yes, there's we look at marketing for our clients, we look at how they fit in the market, we look at how they articulate themselves in marketing collateral, but most importantly we get them in front of customers to talk about their pain points, because unless you're talking to an organisation, you don't know whether your product or service is actually required. So,
No, that sounds very good.
Yeah.
We've spoken about pre-market engagement, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
On that one. So why is proof of value so critical, Stu? As you mentioned, maybe even more so than technical performance. Why is that so?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what we're talking about proof of value is that cost benefit, value for money. Have you thought about all of the aspects in terms of how that product will integrate into the system and the environment in which you're putting it into? In the last episode we talked about defence lines of development, tepid oil. Have you thought about not just the product but the training behind it, the publications that's needed for that in order to operate, the spares, how you're going to maintain it, what's the operational life of that particular product? So there's all of those aspects to sort of prove value to the client in order to send that in, and that will help you to get over that valley of death, because you will be you'll be proving to the organisation that you've thought about a wider aspect of the product that you're offering in, and hopefully you're proving it via case studies, evidence, trials, tests, evaluation, that side of life. So that's very much what we need.
How would you prioritise? I'm thinking that's a lot of
There's a lot.
artifacts. And
There is a lot there.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to get most of that paid for. You don't want to be doing it out of your own budget.
Yeah.
So I think what you need to be doing initially as a small organisation, as an SME, is finding ways in which you can get that funded. And there are, a variety of aspects there, solutions there. So Defence and Security Accelerator, now UK Defence Innovation, run a wide range of programs, both themed and open calls, where you can feed maybe lower TRL capabilities into and help them. They'll help you to not only put it in front of a potential end user, but also help fund some of the development activity.
Okay.
And the benefit of UKDI funding is that it's 100% funded. It's not a 70% funding that you perhaps get from a UKRI or an ATI or an APC bid. So that's quite key.
That's great. Yeah, it's a good position to. How is that process to apply?
Look at the website.
Yeah.
It's gov.uk website. Just type in UK Defence Innovation. Go on there, and there's a variety of calls that you can monitor. You can sign up for their newsletters and email weekly emails, and you'll get them through there. But again, you may find that you can also get funding through a prime that is looking to do research and development in that area.
Okay.
So if you've got a capability that helps them to accelerate their development through those technology readiness levels because you've already done that activity, then they'll be very keen to help you.
Okay.
The difficulty is finding the right person to speak into that prime, and that's our day job.
That's
what we do every day. But if you can find that sponsor, be it MOD or Prime, then obviously that's going to be a benefit.
Yeah, that's good.
I think one thing I would probably add to the proof of value bit is what differentiates you from your competitors as well. So think about your unique selling points, value proposition into the client, and how easy will it be for the client to work with you because you are differentiated and you're providing a viable product that they're looking for and that will answer their pain points. So have a look at that, and how you can make it easy, as we've said in previous episodes, make it easy for the customer to work with you.
Say yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I suppose, do you think, what's your thoughts on the importance of co-creation with the customer, and how, I think sometimes that can be quite a fluffy thing to talk about, can't it? And it seems like risk, control, all those things are undefined, but I've also seen co-creation work well when it's got an outcome, it's got a time bound, and risks have been identified. What's your thoughts on co-creation?
I think, when those words get said to an SME, I think the hairs on the back of their neck go up because of intellectual property.
Oh, I see. Okay,
so I think that can be a concern. So that's a key message, I think, to understand what you're getting into commercially before you start to get into the detail of the technical side. But yeah, I think if you can, primes are coming out to SMEs now because they realise that they are quite agile and they've got some really interesting
specialist
product, specialist capability and products, and they want to be able to help those organisations to get that equipment in, and obviously if they can make money and do business on the back of that, then everyone's a winner. But just be careful of the commercial aspects and make sure you know what you're getting into before you sort of start to talk too much around the technical solution. It's nothing to be scared of, but you just need to go in with eyes wide open, I think. So on that side,
great. It's good to know that there are different routes and options, isn't it?
Yeah.
For what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've talked before about frameworks, and there'll be there's a number of frameworks out there, but and just there will be one that aligns with what you are looking for, and to get opportunities from, to help you to get over that innovation gap.
Yeah.
Basically.
So after our conversations, I'm seeing a wooden bridge with slats, and each nugget of information you're giving is like a slat going across the valley.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's helping you to cross that without falling in between.
Yeah, falling in between.
Hopefully.
Yeah, wear a helmet.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I suppose talking about that crossing the bridge, then, what strategies have you seen or would recommend to SMEs to help build that compelling business case to do exactly that?
Yeah, I think make sure that you've thought about scalability, because often, as you have a new idea, and as we talked about right at the beginning of the episode, you've got that concept, you've trialed it, but there's a whole world of difference between having a prototype and it being a manufacturable at-rate product. So all the aspects of sort of designing for high volume manufacture. Have you thought about how you're going to maintain that product? How that what the actual cost of the product is going to be per unit price, and to sort of utilize it in service, because it may be that the price excludes it from a buyer buying it because it's too exquisite, or it costs too much. So just think of all of those aspects over and above the technical side. Think about that long-term sustainment bit of the product. It's all well and good selling it to a customer, but what are the aspects they need to be understanding about how long it's going to be viable in that particular operational requirement? What are the users going to need to do to maintain it? Have you thought about spares that are easily replaceable? And even things at the moment, one of the key topics is spiral development, or incremental acquisition, which is all about having a base product that is then able to be upgraded through its life, rather than having to be replaced, because you've already paid for that upfront development. What you don't want to do is throw a product away and then having to develop another one. So a lot of I keep on going back to drones in our discussions, but it's the topic of the month,
and it's a growth. It's a
huge growth area, and a lot of those. A lot of those solutions that organisations are now putting in, you've got the base hardware, but it's generally the software or the onboard systems that can be upgraded through life. So you're sweating the asset, as they say. So think about that. Again, it's all about putting yourself in the shoes of the client, to say, well, if I was buying this product, what would I want to use it for, and how long would I want to use it for, and how could I ensure that it stays at pace with what our adversaries are doing? And that's a huge lesson from Ukraine. I think someone said the other day that it's every 24 hours they need to think about changing the software element, from a not being compromised from a software element. Every sort of 6 weeks, they're changing some hardware on the drone, and then every 6 months they're replacing some of the major aspects of that. So
long at all,
no, it's not long, and it's constantly recycling it to make sure that you're keeping up. I think long gone are the days that we fielded a bit of equipment and just left it to be used. So so that's a very long-winded way of answering your question about building that compelling business case.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
Even more the need for that agile approach then, really, if we're having to have supply chains that can facilitate that.
The agile approach is definitely what it's about, and that's what the end client is looking for at the moment. So in terms of sort of valley of death. I think just to recap, we've talked about looking at how an organisation puts itself in the shoes of the client, how it makes sure it understands the development and testing activity that will need to be done to bring it into service. So don't head off down the line of development before you've really done that costing exercise and understanding exactly what's needed. Make sure that you are developing something that is required. You're not just looking at it inwardly and developing it, thinking it's a good product, but you haven't tested it with the client. So engage with stakeholders, ideally get a sponsor, an MOD or a prime sponsor to pull you through. And also look at all of the available assets that are out there to help you, both financially and provision of advice, and utilize them. There will be something out there that will help you to develop, and hopefully then you'll be able to build those slats on that bridge.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, that sounds really good. It's that, I'm glad that there are options there, because it's what we need, isn't it, in terms of innovation.
And certainly now we're gonna need to be developing product at a far higher rate to keep up with adversaries and keep up with what our troops need on the battlefield. Definitely.
Oh, great, Stu. So building on some of the points we've discussed in this podcast, be keen to know what additional aspects over the technical side of things would you recommend companies to do to make themselves market ready? Okay,
interesting. So I think a lot of what we talk to clients about is being able to understand things like their quality processes, because they will get asked what those are, even if they're not ISO 9001 or they haven't gone through that accreditation. Do they have a quality management system that they can demonstrate to the customer they're following set processes? And why they ask for that is because they want to see repeatable processes, and they want to understand that company, when they produce a product in week 1, it will be the same as in week 10. So they're following the same process. Other accreditations, some simple things that clients can do that we ask them look at is things like Cyber Essentials. So critical for the defence industry. It's fairly simple to go through an audit process. The Cyber Essentials Basic is just a self-certification. It's just a questionnaire. Cyber Essentials Plus is an external audit, but it's not too invasive. So that's fine. And then something else that I think we've talked about in previous podcasts is JOSCAR registration, which is the supply chain register that people can get onto. And that JOSCAR basically asks for your financials, your insurance details, your quality management, etc. So making it easier to get on board with a prime or if you're selling into the MOD. So those are some of the things that you can look to get yourself market ready. Another aspect is don't just look inwardly while you're developing your product. Very, very conscious that organisations are trying to improve the product all the time, but unless you're speaking to somebody who's going to use it, the end customer, and helping them understand perhaps where they would use that product or service in operations, they can then give you feedback as well, and perhaps help you to develop that product or service to be better and to be optimized for that end requirement. So there is, speak to the client, get engaged with organisations that are going to use it, network with other potential partners. I think we talked earlier about organisations that you could potentially partner with that would help you accelerate to market. So to definitely network and sort of make sure you understand the defence landscape that you're going to go into. So I think all of those aspects in conjunction with the technical development will help you deliver a rounded product to the end customer.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Have you seen where you've encouraged clients to look at bid readiness at that early stage in terms of any of the bid artifacts?
Yeah, absolutely. So building evidence, case studies, make sure that you've got that locked away in a cupboard to be used in bids. Yeah. You talked about your capture planning before, making sure you've got all of those aspects covered, and look at how a lot of that activity will help you accelerate your bid process as well if you've got all of those aspects already developed. So yeah, absolutely, definitely.
Sounds good. Definitely cross the bridge.
Yep.
Or the bridge, the valley.
So I think that's it for this episode. And next time we'll be diving into another key topic to help SMEs navigate the complex and often challenging environment of defence. We'll continue unpacking practical insights, strategies and lessons to support your journey from innovation to contract. So that's it from me. Thank you very much, Georgina, once again. Insightful conversation. So thank you.
Thank you.
And look forward to the next episode.
Yes, likewise.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so that's it for today's episode of Advance to Contract, where we help SMEs navigate into the defence landscape with clarity, confidence and purpose.
So if you found today's discussion useful, don't forget to subscribe, share it with your network and leave us a review. And if you've got questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, we'd really like to hear from you. You can download our top tips and resources from the website link in the episode description.
Thank you for listening. And remember, every big contract starts with a single conversation. Until next time, keep advancing.